they segregated them. They were cooks, they worked in the mess halls, and that's about it. So when he came topside to contribute, so they brought a welder in and created a half cell. You can see on the pictures what the cells actually look like. I won't close the door unless you ask me to.
Please don't. I'm claustrophobic.
We've actually had people want the door closed.
Mm-mm. If it wasn't this tiny, I'd probably be okay.
Now the wooden chair behind you, that was a toilet. They would put a bucket under there with a pile of corn cobs because it was a security risk to take you outside to the outhouse. We know of 5 hangings that were done here. Hangings. Right outside that back wall. And a special gallows that the whole floor dropped. They didn't
Make super sure.
make super sure.
Feels like everything old was a weapon.
Gosh, that's so awesome. Y'all look so young. Either that or I'm just getting that old.
Hey, I mean, I'll take the 24. I got.
Everything old could have been used as a weapon.
It is Morse code. It is a telegraph. I told that to a family, and this little boy goes, "How does it work? Where's the screen?" His parents just went. Now, this is all functioning communications equipment. This is all World War II, and that's Vietnam. We had one of our board members, a good friend of mine. He had a great uncle that was involved with communications after D-Day, and they were fixing to get overrun by the Germans. They could hear the machinery, they could hear the men shouting, they've got rifles going off. You can imagine how scared they were. So they called their superiors and they said, "What do we do?" I said, "Well, you destroy your important paperwork and stuff, you eat a good meal and you get plenty of sleep. You want to have your wits about you when the Germans capture you so you don't give up information." So they partied. Woke up the next day, no Germans. The Germans had run out of fuel 5 miles before their position, and it was the end of the Battle of the Bulge. Wondering why we have a Nazi flag. This is the face of tyranny. This is one of the reasons why we have heroes. This is the bad guys of the world, and why we should keep fighting for freedom. It means you got an honorable discharge from the military, and you could wear your military uniform to work until you earned enough money to get civilian clothes. But you left the military in honorable standing. Now, this is a World War II dress uniform, but why do you think there are 13 buttons on the front of these trousers?
Make sure they stay up.
We had one
Made
guy
like
say
badges?
it's 13 chances for his future wife to say no. I was like, oh my gosh, sir. Why do you think there's...
Maybe it represents like badges or something.
What? I don't know.
13 buttons?
13 colonies?
Yes, 13 colonies. That's exactly it. Now, why is the Navy, were and still are, so fashionable with their bell bottoms?
Go over your... They don't wear boots.
Easier to run?
What happens to your blue jeans when they get wet?
Oh, they shrink in.
They stick to your leg. Bell bottoms, they were able to get them off, and they would tie the ends of the legs, and they would throw their pants in the air and plumb down real quick, and it would trap air, and they could use it as a flotation device for a short time, so they wouldn't have to tread water all the time and exhaust themselves as fast. So it's built-in survival.
Nope.
Okay.
Man, we have failed history.
It's all right. I didn't know either until when I came to work here. The Austin Mare expeditions. You've got the expeditions after the Battle of San Jacinto when Santa Anna gave up Texas.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Okay. Sam Houston beat him with his army and all those kind of things. Okay. And I'll give you a synopsis because I'm not real strong on this, but years later, Santa Anna went back on his word and he started sending raiding parties up into Texas. And there was a group of people here in Fayette County that got together under the meeting tree on the square and then picked up more at a little community called Blackjack Springs, just southwest of here. And they went down there to try to kick butt and take names and do those kind of things. And then they went down again with another group. And same thing happened. They got defeated. But this time Santa Anna had had enough. He says, all right, blindfold them, make them pick beans. If you picked a green bean, you were put in prison. If you picked a black bean, you were executed. Now the horrible thing is they put them up against a wall. He did allow them to contact their families, send a letter to the families that we're going to die. They put the ones that weren't being executed on the other side of the wall. And then they made Mexican soldiers, some who had fought alongside the Texans and others who hated their guts, execute them. Years later, when the commander of those guys was involved in the Mexican-American War, he got permission from the Mexican government to recover the bodies, and they are up on Monument Hill, just outside of town. That kind of museum. This would go down into a groove in the top of the rifle, and it would line up, and you just push the ammo down in, and the clip would pop out, and the ammo would stay in, and it was faster than going,
Yeah.
you know.
Get them all at once.
Now, when they came out with an actual clip, it was in World War II, and it was an M1 Garand. And this is the clip. It was more ammo, and the whole mechanism would go in, which meant it was faster. You didn't have to push it down. You just pushed it down and went. But there was a drawback. As the story goes, when the Americans ran out of ammo, it would make a distinct sound. Ting! And the Germans figured out you ran out, and then they would stand up and shoot the Americans. Well, the Americans were pretty smart. They'd get up on the firing line, they'd shoot a bunch of times, and they'd had empties in their pockets, and they threw them against their steel pots and make the same sound. The Germans would stand up and get shot. So they found or stopped some of the shrapnel and give them a better chance. And that was one of the first editions of it when they, during Korea. Now, this is the Vietnam version of it, and this has a bullet hole through the back.
Did the person live?
And a funny story. Two 12-year-olds got a hold of that flak vest from a surplus store in 1983. One of them said, put it on, let's shoot it. The other one said, no, it's not a bulletproof vest and it's older than dirt. So the other one, he put it on a fence post and shot it with a .22 rifle. Went all the way through it. I looked at my cousin and said, aren't you glad I didn't put it on? It's mine. Most of this exhibit belongs to him. What's unusual about Mr. Robert Pavlik is he was in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, and the National Guard.
He couldn't make up his mind.
No, he would serve, and he just wanted something different. We both served in the 50th Armored Division. Just didn't know it until we got involved in the museum. He would have served in the Coast Guard, but he was too old to enlist, so they gave him a letter of commendation anyway for trying. It's like, dude, you
covered your bases.
I mean, him and his friends used to hang out with John Wayne.
Oh, wow.
Little offshoot of some Texas history. How did Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday meet? 2 years until 1985, and I went through a 10-year restoration project from 85 to 95.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know if you call this, there were 16 cells in the main cell block. Did I cover that?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. There were 16 cells in the main cell block. 2 rows of 4 on the bottom that faced inward, 2 rows of 4 on top that faced outward, and they had a catwalk system that, but they had to cut all of that out. It was dangerous.
It's also ancient.